Welcome back, my loyal customers, and welcome into the DFS Deli. Week 1 is upon us, and I'm going to give you low-owned players at each position that you can sprinkle into your DFS lineups to help you get to the top of those tournament brackets. So pull up a chair, grab your favorite beverage, and let's do this. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Sully, and once again, welcome back to the Deli. Today, I'm going to try and keep the players that I mentioned today below 5 to 7%. I know some sites will have it different. I know pricing's different on FanDuel and DraftKings, but I'm going to try and keep these players below that threshold. Again, I know it's not going to be 100% accurate. It never is. This is based off of milli maker aggregates for the most part, so we see what the general public is doing as opposed to changes in percentage owned amongst like smaller field tournaments, mid-sized tournaments. We're talking, what the general public is thinking. So before I get into each position, please, before we get into the QBs, like the video, comment, subscribe. Make sure you comment. I want to engage with you guys. We're trying to get to our first 50 subs. We're doing a great job so far, so I appreciate everybody that's left likes, comments, and everything up until this point. But before we go on, just make sure you hit that subscribe button. So let's get into it.
Yeah, boy.
First up on the list, we're going to have quarterback Derek Carr playing against the Tennessee Titans at home. Last year, the Tennessee Titans were an exploitable defense, especially in the secondary, very solid against the run. So we got to look at this from an ownership and tournament standpoint, whereas if Jamal Williams is going to be the chalk at running back, or at least one of the chalkier running backs we have, why not go to the passing side of it? Derek Carr, again, playing at home in New Orleans. We used to call this the Coors Field of DFS, and I think the same standards kind of hold true here. So Derek Carr going against Tennessee once again has solid passing options in Chris Olave, who's slated to break out this year. Again, he's going to draw some ownership, but Michael Thomas probably won't. Same with their tight end, Juwan Johnson, and backup tight end, Foster Moreau, who he came over with from the Raiders. I think this is a situation where we can get not necessarily a ceiling performance to the point where we don't need it at 5,300 on DraftKings. So if you're looking for a guy that's going to be less than 5% owned, that can break through a slate with his stacking partners in Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and to Juwan Johnson to a lesser extent, I think Derek Carr is going to make for a solid option this week. Honorable mention, of course, goes to Baker Mayfield. Again, it's the matchup, not necessarily the player. So we're talking about QBs that are going against two very, very bad defenses, especially in the secondary, like I said, and the stacking options on the run back end are going to be easily accessible. Again, if you can get a low-owned Derrick Henry to come back with your Saint stacks, I think it'll be profitable for you in your DFS lineups this week.
Yeah.
Next up at the RB position, we have Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is in a great spot this week against the Atlanta Falcons on the road as dogs, but they don't have any receivers to throw to. Last time I checked the depth chart for the Carolina Panthers, there was nobody left. So I think the Panthers is going to be heavily reliant on the run. 1,400 yards and double-digit touchdowns last year for Miles Sanders. And I think this is a spot where you can get him at less than 5% ownership. Once again, it wasn't in the too distant past where we were saying, what running back plays the Atlanta Falcons? Play that guy. Well, today it's going to be Miles Sanders, and they do have solid run back options in Atlanta. You guys are already going to be using Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts to a lesser extent, Drake London. And this is a spot where Miles Sanders could definitely exploit this Atlanta defense, especially in a spot that's indoors. I would have not worry about the Chuba Hubbard thing. That's got to stop. I think Miles Sanders could be upwards of 20-plus carries in this spot. And to get a bell cow running back at this low ownership and at this price for this week, I think Miles Sanders is someone you should definitely consider in your tournament lineups this week.
Yeah, boy.
Up next is a wide receiver position, and I don't need much analysis for this. AJ Brown is grown. He's a grown-ass man from the rumors that I've heard, and Jalen Hurts is going to get his ownership. I get that, but if we're not going to have his stacking partners tagging along with it, then what's the point? I mean, if you're going to have tournament winning upside from your QB, why not bring along some of his targets? Honorable mention goes to, of course, the Slim Reaper, who's coming in at an even less percentage than AJ Brown. So if we're talking week one stacks that can definitely get you in a winning position in a tournament, it's going to be these Eagle stacks. I mean, there's just it just boggles my mind that everyone is still scared of this Patriots defense. Like there's some, they're not the world beaters that they used to. And we're talking about the NFC champs here going into New England with their high-powered offense, a cavalcade of running backs. And the thing is that AJ Brown is still grown. The Slim Reaper is still the Slim Reaper, is what they do. And if we're talking at a stack that's going to come in cumulatively at less than 5%, this stack could break the slate and no one's going to be playing it. So I don't want to hear it's so expensive to build Slim Reaper and AJ Brown stacks with Jalen Hurts. Yeah, it is. It's supposed to be expensive. But with so much value that we have open up on the slate at the running back position, you can pay down. Even on your run backs in this game, you can get Hunter Henry at cheap. Kendrick Bourne. There's so many places you can go in this game to create a little mini stack. I would just stack the whole thing up. Just give me AJ Brown, give me the Slim Reaper, give me the Hurt Business at less than 5% in a cumulative stack that can easily break the slate. But Sully, why do we have to double stack our running quarterbacks? Come on. If the Hurt Business is going to go for over 300 and multiple scores, yes, he can do it with his legs, but he's bringing someone along with him, and it's going to be one of these two guys. Again, I'm not scared of this Patriots defense. They're going to be the ones reeling in this one. I think the Eagles can put up a very, very high number in this one. And again, at this ownership, less than 5%, same with Devonta Smith. Like, come on, just let's load up some AJ Brown. I mean, he's grown. He's grown for a reason.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I'm going to get into the tight end position and give you Evan Ingram. He's on an offense where Trevor Lawrence is expected to have a breakout season, along with guys like Justin Herbert. But one of the guys that we're targeting this year is going to be Trevor Lawrence's offense. This Indianapolis team that they're going against this week is going to be not necessarily laying down, but they're still bad in the secondary. Running back problems all over the place. Rookie quarterback. I expect this to be a run-heavy script from the Colts side, but on offense, Evan Ingram gives you a solid red zone target when the Jaguars get down into that area. Over 700 yards and 70 catches last year. We saw his rapport with Trevor Lawrence, even with the addition of Calvin Ridley this year. I think Evan Ingram at least provides you a solid floor, but with the potential of a ceiling game with his 4 touchdowns last year. I think that a run back isn't necessary with this game. I think that Evan Ingram is going to be a guy where coming in under owned in this scenario can provide you with some leverage in your Trevor Lawrence stacks. I know the shiny new toy again is Calvin Ridley this year. Zay Jones broke a couple slates himself. Christian Kirk had a very underrated year last year, but another underrated tight end was Evan Ingram. And if we're going to get him at sub 5%, I think that he's going to definitely outperform the Luke Musgraves of the world. So I think mid-range, if you're going to go in that way for a tight end, I think Evan Ingram is going to be the guy that you were going to be looking at this week. And that's going to do it for this week's edition of the DFS Treasure Chest. Make sure you comment below your favorite low-owned players for this week's main slate, and good luck to all of you in the DFS contest that you enter this week. I hope you all win big, and I'm going to go ahead and close up the shop, and I'll see you all at the top. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. Peace.